go wherever.
All right, back out here in front of the Supreme Court with my wonderful colleague, Paula Reid. We're waiting for the opinions to come down today as the term wraps up. And one of the big questions people are asking is, what is this like for Special Counsel Jack Smith? I mean, we are waiting for decisions on a couple of huge cases that could have implications on the prosecution.
Yeah, and he asked the Supreme Court back in December to just weigh in, say what you're going to say so I can move along with this case against former President Trump. And they didn't take it up then. They let it go through the appeals court process. They scheduled it at a pretty quick pace for the Supreme Court, but it was the last case that was heard. And now we're still waiting on what should be the last day of the term. We know they're going to continue to release opinions Monday. So I think Jack Smith, he's not happy. He's riding his Peloton really hard somewhere. If people don't know, he's a competitive bike racer. He was injured when he was first appointed. That's why it took him a long time to come back to the United States. But he's got to be so frustrated, right? Because as much as the Trump team likes to take credit, our strategy is delay, delay, delay. We've managed to delay this. A lot of the credit really goes to the Supreme Court when it comes to delaying the January 6th case. They could have answered this in December, but they didn't.
They didn't. We asked for that. They didn't do it. Now here we are going into next week without a decision yet on immunity of January 6th. All right, Paula Reid, thanks so much. See you on air soon. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm also trying to do like real life behind the scenes, and I love this question from one of the followers about what do we do to prevent like sneezing or having a raspy voice on air, because this person says that we always look perfect when we're on air and we never like sound off. Paula and I are moms of little kids, and we have lots of tricks that prevent us from sounding normal on air. And I want you to start.
Well, I think looking good, obviously we have help from professionals, so that's the easy part. Yeah. Sounding good, though, I'm prone to blowing out my voice. So I know if I'm going to be on air for a long period of time, I always have a warm liquid that I'm drinking out of a straw. And even if you don't think you need it, you have to sip at every commercial break, because that one break where you don't sip, you will have a coughing fit in the middle of your next segment. So that's a big one. And I think also sleep is huge. Kind of a joke, right? A cruel thing to say to moms of young children or parents of young children, but that really is a big thing. And also just working even with a vocal coach to stop blowing out my voice, because it's a real thing. When you talk for a living, when you're not getting sleep, when you're raising kids, all the preschool germs, it is really difficult. So it's a multifaceted approach.
Yeah, I agree with sleep. You know, some people brag like, oh, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night. I don't brag about that. No, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get 8 or even 9 hours of sleep if I can. Now, it's not always easy, doesn't always happen, but that's what I try to do. My other little trick is I put a cough drop in tea, and it always helps my voice. And let me tell you something. We also mask it a lot. Like sometimes I'm going to go on here with a raspy voice. Okay, another big day wrapped up here at the Supreme Court, and we want to bring you in behind the scenes, the process that we have to go through before we go on air to talk about these massive opinions that came out today. So I want to bring in Paula. Paula, for example, I was doing a live shot talking about the case and the outcome, and you're on the phone.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on.
So we are on the phone with our colleague who is inside the court. This is so archaic the way they do this. In the morning they bring out boxes. Today they brought out 2 boxes. So we knew that a box can have anywhere from like 1 to 3 opinions. So we're like, all right, we're gonna get 2 to 5 opinions. And then we listen to our colleague on the phone tell us as they release from the bench what opinion it is, and then try to give us details. Meanwhile, we get 1 copy of said opinion run out to us from the Supreme Court. So we're on the phone trying to figure out what happened while waiting for this. And then of course we want to be accurate first and foremost, but we also want to be first. So then I'll signal to Pam, okay, I'm ready to talk about it. She comes to me, and I think the biggest thing here is preparation and knowing, okay, I'm pretty sure I know the different ways this can go. They tell us, but they don't make it easy. There's no love of transparency at the Supreme Court.
And there's always surprises, right? Like for example, on the January 6th case today, you had Justice Jackson going with the conservatives, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett going with the liberals.
Exactly, and it would take you would have to get through 17 pages of this before you figure that out. So our first hit is usually the top line, and you have to really study it. Okay,